first installment of a new segment that I'm calling Bass Guitar Class, where we will discuss just things that are incrementally that will help you to improve your bass playing. Some things that if you implement on a daily basis, you can see a marked improvement in your playing. We'll talk about concepts like time. Um, we'll talk about concepts like what is a groove? What does that mean? How important is that to music? And what I just want to say right off the bat as far as academia goes, the thing about music is music was the foundation of everything. Music was around way before anybody started writing this stuff down. You know, heartbeat, rhythm, all those things were there. And the indigenous people that created much of this music and the foundation for what we call modern American music even, were not writing this stuff down. It was an oral tradition that was passed down from master to teacher or from peer to peer. And there was a language that was developed as a result of that. So it was a natural thing. A lot of times we try to take things that are natural and we try to move them into academia to explain them or define them. We diminish the thing itself, whether it be by defining it by words like rock or jazz or blues or making other references. These things merely are there to help perhaps define the direction that we're going, but nothing more. We don't want to necessarily tie ourselves into this. And I don't know what specifically is the reason why you're playing bass. And that could be very well be your reason for playing, is to play a particular style, which is nothing wrong with that either. But I just want to say, the more you can free your mind up, it will improve your bass playing no matter what style you're playing. And what you'll find is, even within a particular style of music you're playing, you can incorporate ideas from other styles or from other areas that will give you ideas you would never have came up with on your own, because you caged your mind to, oh, I'm playing jazz, or oh, I'm playing rock, or oh, I'm playing blues. You get the foundation, you get the basic understanding of it, and then you expand your mind. Number one, to support the music. Number two, to bring your thoughts or your ideas through the music. That's why they hired you. I mean, you could pick up a beat machine somewhere if you just want a bass line or whatever. But in my case, when people want me to play on their albums, want me to play on their stuff, they want Eliott. They could have asked anybody. So your personality needs to come through, and the only way you can do that is by opening your mind and not locking yourself into a preconceived notion, but bringing your personality into it. It's the same reason we like certain people and don't like others, because of their personality. If everybody said, let me get an English book and see proper English, and we did this everywhere we went, life would be really, really boring. But because we all bring our own element of surprise, so to speak, into the situation, it's very different. And that's why we gravitate towards people, we move away from others. And typically we tend, a lot of us, I would think, in general, at least myself, I gravitate towards people who are open, don't mind letting their personality shine through, versus somebody who's guarded or just, right down the line. I may talk to you for a second, but it's not going to be for long, because I'm about genuineness. And that's what music is about. It's not about academia. Now, don't get me wrong, and I don't want anybody to take this out of context. Depending on what you're trying to do in music, an academic route as far as a secular, like going to school to learn to read and sight read and all this stuff, may be good for you. Because there are certain situations where you just need to know what the language is that they're speaking, which may be that language on paper. You may need to know how to read it, how to sight read it off the bat. At the same time, I can guarantee you that they're wanting somebody that has a combination of both. The ability to sight read and the ability to feel what is happening and to interpret what is happening by having a large enough vocabulary from listening and playing to be able to fit the music the way it needs to be done. So that's just some ideas about that. But anyway, I'm going to get right into it. Just talk a little bit about the anatomy of the bass itself. This is what is called a jazz bass. The manner or design of it is called a precision bass. A lot of people think precision bass was talking about the actual construct of a precision bass. But in reality, the idea of precision bass had to do with introducing frets on the fingerboard of the instrument in order to facilitate accurate fingering without having to use hand position or set hand position to determine that you're playing in tune. On a fretless instrument, no frets are here, so you basically are relying on proper hand position and movement to stay in tune. But the concept of precision basically references that. Nowadays, that's been lost in the mix. So in most cases, when people say precision, they're talking about a bass. So in that instance, this is not a precision bass as far as style or design. This is a jazz bass. And as you can see, the body is contoured, asymmetrical. It's very ergonomic, meaning very comfortable for the individual playing it. If you look at the back, you can see here there's a body cut right there. And I may not be calling that the correct thing, but basically it allows you to play the bass comfortably where it rests under the rib cage or the chest comfortably. You've got the headstock or head. These are your tuning keys. These are your strings, of course. This here is a string tree, which allows the proper tension to come against these two strings to keep it flush against the nut, which this is the nut. The strings are actually coming over the top of the nut to come down the fingerboard. That also allows proper spacing against the fingerboard to keep you from buzzing when you play, that you're actually fretting a note accurately. These are your frets, of course. On the side here, you have what are called fret dots or fret markers. So for any of you guys out there that want to play fretless bass and you don't have a reference on the fingerboard, if you look at these things, they can, if you're in tune, if you're tuned up right, they'll help you stay in the right position. It's also a good way to learn how to set your hand position to get the right hand position for playing in tune. This back here is the neck plate, which bolts this neck to the body. This is the body. This is, I believe, swamp ash. I believe. Not positive on that, but that's the type of wood. This is a maple fingerboard, maple neck. These are your pickups, which the string travels across in order to reproduce sound. You could also almost call it an instrument microphone, if you would like. These are jazz style pickups. This is my pick guard, which covers the body. I think part of it is to cover control cavity back here. On some basses the controls are not in there, and they're just here for design and for aesthetics, for looks. You can get these. I could change this out, various different colors or whatnot. Here are my knobs, my tone knobs. I have a volume for this one, volume for this pickup, and a tone button. The tone basically takes me from a very bassy sound with no highs or upper register stuff happening,